A rough day for business and consumers as robbers target 2 shopping malls in Cape Town. School uniform suppliers under the spotlight as the Competition Commission investigates price collusion. Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Tutuzile Ramela.
A very good evening. I am William Lahong.
To comment on any of our stories, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. Look for @eNews Direct.
You can also track our main stories using the following hashtags: mall heists and SABC.
We start with this. Winnie Madikizela Mandela has been discharged from hospital. Family member Terry Bashala has confirmed she was admitted to a medical facility. Madikizela Mandela was also hospitalized earlier this year. It appears she has been sick for a while. No further details have been provided as to why she was admitted this time. 2 malls in the Western Cape have been on lockdown today following incidents of armed robbery. Although the attacks happened around the same time, it's unclear whether it's the work of a syndicate. The mayhem left Christmas shoppers panicked and scrambling for safety.
Shortly after opening its doors, the N1 City Mall in Goodwood was hit by a group of armed men who stormed an ATM while it was being loaded by cash-in-transit guards. The men fled in a car that was later traced by police. Around the same time, 2 armed men attempted to rob a clothing store at Vangate Mall in Athlone. They left empty-handed, but not before firing 2 shots. No one was injured. Centre management is worried.
Yes, it's very concerning. Security is a high priority for us. Vangate is one of our major centres. We spent a lot of money and time at Vangate with regards to security. We've added more security guards from the 15th of November. We've got armed response on site, added more guards for this festive season, and we've also had SAPs in the mall more often.
Police are reluctant to divulge too many details around the incidents.
The circumstances surrounding these cases are now being investigated, and at this stage there's no indication that there's a link between the cases, but we will conduct a thorough investigation to determine all the aspects surrounding the crimes.
The attacks come hot on the heels of police efforts to jack up security around malls and popular tourist spots, especially over the festive season.
Large numbers of police officers are being deployed at shopping malls and beaches and areas frequented by visitors during the festive season. Our operational plan for the festive season has been implemented. Yes, we are concerned about all crimes perpetrated.
No arrests have been made. Percival Young, Cape Town.
School uniform suppliers involved in price collusion could find themselves in trouble. The Competition Commission is investigating bad practice in the sector, and guilty suppliers could lose up to 10% of their annual profit. There have been claims that some suppliers are unfairly benefiting from long-term exclusive agreements with principals and school governing bodies.
The school uniform industry is worth hundreds of millions of rand. In recent years, the cost of these uniforms have skyrocketed. Parents across the country have now complained to the Competition Commission, saying they are forced to pay exorbitant prices, often to single suppliers. Cape Town parents recently said they were forced to pay 200 rand for a pair of socks. Others say they have to cut back on buying food for their families so that they can afford school uniforms.
We are investigating anti-competitive conduct by suppliers because they are the ones who enter into these agreements with schools. Technically, it's possible that you can bring schools into this, but I mean, again, we're not necessarily interested in that because when you are punishing a school, you are punishing parents still.
The Commission says it has also received complaints from parents that certain principals and governing bodies are receiving kickbacks from retailers to ensure that they get the business. One retailer who has been in the business for more than 120 years says a supply agreement is beneficial to both schools and businesses.
I don't think a supply agreement is necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I think it's a good thing. What it does, it gives comfort to both the supplier, the retailer, and the school. The school has the knowledge that the merchandise will be available. The supplier has the comfort of the knowledge that the goods he buys, which can only be sold to that particular school, will be sold. And the agreements we have in place classically are for a year and can be terminated at 12 months at any time.
The Competition Commission plans to go on a nationwide road trip early next year to inform schools and suppliers of the penalties they face if they engage in anti-competitive practices. John Bailey, Pretoria.
President Jacob Zuma will not appoint an interim SABC board for now. He wants Parliament to finish its inquiry into the current board's fitness to hold office. This week, the only remaining non-executive member, Professor Mbulayeni Magube, resigned a few days after being grilled by the ad hoc committee.
By law, President Jacob Zuma is required to appoint an interim SABC board recommended by the National Assembly. But that won't happen, at least for now. He's waiting for recommendations from a parliamentary probe into the board's fitness before making any announcements. The ad hoc committee is expected to convene again in January. But another drama is unfolding at the public broadcaster. The organization Undoing Tax Abuse has laid fraud, racketeering and misrepresentation charges against former COO Hlaudi Motsaneng. They're also targeting Communications Minister Faith Mutambi.
There are many indications that the minister is not clean, that the minister has a lot to answer to. And as we build our case and as more evidence comes forward, and we believe there is evidence of interference directly by the minister in board decisions and her knowledge of some of these transgressions. If they do not go as far as the minister, and we believe that they should, then we will look at laying charges directly against the minister and or civil claims.
However, the Communications Ministry says operational matters at the SABC fall under the accounting officer, as stated in the Public Finance Management Act. Malungelo Pui, Johannesburg.
Police watchdog head Robert McBride has undergone a polygraph test. He wants to disprove accusations that he attended meetings aimed at overthrowing the state. Last week, Gauteng Hawks boss Prince Mokotedi laid charges against McBride. Investigator Paul O'Sullivan and former Gauteng Hawks boss Shadrack Sibia. The charges relate to an alleged assassination plot. McBride had requested that Mokotedi undergo the polygraph test alongside him. The Hawks head said he would, but has since changed his mind. The results of the polygraph will be ready in the next day or so.
He doesn't have a source. He's made this up. And therefore, he'd want this to hang for as long as possible over our heads, the allegation. I would like to go to court.
Now, many people head to the coast for the holidays, but if you're opting to avoid the crowds this season, here's a handy guide on budget-friendly ways to enjoy Gauteng.
Staying at home these holidays doesn't have to be dull and boring. You can still have fun and spend next to nothing. If you plan to stay indoors, try breaking out of your routine. For once, leave the laundry. And it's okay if the dishes pile up occasionally. Instead, host a small braai and invite a few friends over. For some quiet time, rent DVDs or stream TV shows online. Or catch up on that book you've been meaning to finish. Now could also be the time to get that much-needed shut-eye. For those who love the outdoors, there's Northcliffe Hills for a picnic, offering a stunning 360-degree view of the city. For a mere 15 rand, you can go paddling at Zoo Lake, while the children expend their energy on the jungle gym close by. If you're in the mood for an artsy vibe, Maboneng in central Johannesburg is right up your alley. You can enjoy a movie at the Bioscope, buy a bag at the Crafts Market, or have a bite at one of the restaurants. And lastly, for something historic, learn a thing or two at the Shadow Boxer Outdoor Museum downtown. It houses the original attorney offices of Nelson Mandela and Oliver Tambo and details South Africa's apartheid past. Lindwe Sithole, Johannesburg.
South Africans have pledged more than 11 million rand in a bid to help the people of Aleppo. Humanitarian group Operation South Africa put out a call to locals to help those in the war-torn Syrian city. Gift of the Givers is also delivering aid to thousands of civilians escaping Aleppo. We've seen the heartbreaking images of flattened hospitals and traumatized children. More than 25,000 people have already been evacuated. In international news, Germany's Interior Minister Thomas de Maizière is heading up a crisis panel on the Berlin truck attack. The team includes the country's chief prosecutor, the head of the Federal Criminal Police, and MPs. The minister says it's following up on several leads and vows to continue until the perpetrators are caught. Pope Francis has ordered the release of a Spanish priest convicted of leaking confidential information in the so-called VatiLeaks case. Lucio Valerio Balda was sentenced to 18 months in a Vatican jail last year. Balda has already served more than half of his sentence and will return to Spain once released. President Jacob Zuma has been outwitted by a 13-year-old girl. In a game of chess, that is, the president rolled up his sleeves yesterday and went head-to-head with Nokwanda Kaba. The annual chess tournament took place in Mandela, KwaZulu-Natal. It was a closely fought game and the president put up a good defense. However, in the end, the teenager happily took his pawns. The tournament is organized by the Jacob G. Zuma Foundation and has been running since 2009. And in Mexico, a forensic team has been deployed to investigate after a massive explosion ripped through a fireworks market. 29 people were killed and 70 more were injured. There were reportedly 300 tons of fireworks at the market in Tultepec City at the time of the explosion. It's the third time in a decade the popular market has experienced such a blast. The death toll is expected to rise as emergency workers comb through the scene. We've got your business news as well as your weather after this. CocaCola has bought a majority stake in its largest bottling plant in Africa for more than 53 billion rand from AB InBev. The company sold its stake in the bottling plant after its purchase of its rival, SAB Miller. CocaCola has also reached an agreement to buy AB InBev's stake in bottling plants in several countries across Africa and South America. And the Constitutional Court has ruled in favor of Eskom and French company Arriva in a case brought by electronic outfit Westinghouse from Belgium. The two companies approached the court after the Supreme Court of Appeal ruled that the awarding of a tender to Arriva in 2014 was unlawful. The court found that the SCA erred by finding that the strategic consideration fell outside the bid evaluation criteria. The tender was for the replacement of the 6 steam generators at the Koeberg Power Station. Eskom has welcomed the ruling. Let's see how the markets perform today. Your weather details with Candace.
It's the summer solstice today with the longest day and the shortest night, and it's been a sizzling hot one over parts of the interior. Very hot weather continues over the central and northeastern parts all the way through to Friday, with heatwave conditions expected. On Thursday, a cold front brings in the possibility of rainfall over the southwestern part of South Africa. We're also expecting some rain along the eastern Cape coastline, with hot weather over the interior and the possibility of isolated thundershowers from the northwest and Limpopo all the way through to the KwaZulu-Natal coastline. In fact, thundershowers are forecast throughout KwaZulu-Natal, with a watch for severe thunderstorms over the western parts. A toasty afternoon for Ladysmith and Ulundi, both at 37 degrees. We're forecasting some rainfall for East London, Port St John's and Bishu, with thundershowers extending through to Elliot and Queenstown, dry and hot as we head further west. A few degrees cooler for the Western Cape, but still warm on Thursday, in the mid-20s from Hermanus through to Langebaan, with the possibility of rainfall over the southwestern part of the province. Sunny and dry throughout the the Northern Cape with highs in the mid-30s over the northern and eastern parts, and we stick in the mid-30s as we head towards the Free State. Bethlehem and Harrismith both head into the low 30s though, with the possibility of thundershowers mainly over the eastern part of the province. You'll see a hot day for the northwest with maximum temperatures in the middle and upper 30s with isolated thundershowers. Thundershowers also extend through to Limpopo except for Messina and Phalaborwa, where we can expect a blistering hot day with highs in the mid-40s, 41 degrees for Lephalale, and you'll see a hot day for Skukuza at 45 degrees, just shy of 40 for Bombela, with thundershowers for the majority of Mpumalanga, 33 degrees for Secunda, Soweto and Johannesburg. It'll be a hot Thursday for Gauteng with highs in the mid-30s for Vereeniging and Pretoria, and we're forecasting isolated thundershowers. Hot weather and thundershowers continue over the central and northeastern parts through to Friday. We're expecting rain for Cape Town and George, and on Saturday we'll see rain mainly over the southern part of the country with cloudy and wet weather along the east coast and thundershowers in the northeast. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a great night.
Here's what's coming up in your entertainment news after the break. A novel idea out of the Cape Flats, turning childhood memories into one-of-a-kind jewelry pieces. It's jewelry that brings the Cape Flats to life and inspired by childhood memories.
Stacey Bucas' concept range, Sweets with Change, is selling like hotcakes.
Inspired by life on the Cape Flats, this jewelry speaks to distinct childhood memories. Aptly named concept range, Sweets with Change, draws on trips to corner shops in Grassy Park.
We used to walk to the shop, buy a loaf of bread, and then you would ask the guy behind the counter, can we have sweets with the change?
She works out of a tiny studio come manufacturing space to make her Smarties, chewed chappies, and romantic sweets-inspired jewelry.
It's that kind of play on memory and how you can take something that should be so grotesque and like disgusting and make it into something beautiful. So we have a range of chewed bubblegum that's been casted straight into metal, and it's solid brass or silver, and you can actually wear your piece of gum on your finger.
Her handmade silver, brass, and precious metal pieces can be customized. Some people come in specially to chew their own gum imprints for rings and earrings.
We have a lot of foreigners, actually, believe it or not, like that come and actually want to purchase it, and I think they're actually buying the story as much as they are buying the jewelry, you know, so it's not necessarily like a symbol, oh, Table Mountain, or it's like this kind of depth to it where they're going to have a sense of community, a story behind it from the local people.
Biakas's goal is to train and employ people from her hometown as the business grows to keep the brand true to its roots. Piladi Situsa, Cape Town.
A reminder of your top stories before we say goodbye. A rough day for business and consumers as robbers target 2 shopping malls in Cape Town. School uniform suppliers under the spotlight as the Competition Commission investigates price collusion. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
Your favorite drama, Rhythm City, is coming up next.
We do love to hear from you. You can send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct.
Until tomorrow night, have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.